Maine is undoubtedly a beautiful place to live, but there's a reason why thousands of people that move to the state experience quite the culture shock. So here's 3 reasons why you should not move to Maine. The first thing I want to point out is the cost of living in Maine. So Maine is obviously part of New England, and New England is notorious for being one of the most expensive places to move to in the US. Property taxes are incredibly high, it's getting harder and harder to find labor, and most of our food is shipped here from other parts of the country or the world. Now, there's plenty of other factors that play into why New England is so expensive to live in, but what I want to point out here is that Maine is actually considered the most affordable and least expensive New England state to live in. So if you're moving to the area and you're trying to find somewhere that's a little bit more affordable, Maine could be a great option, especially if you're planning on moving down south to York County, which is right next to the New Hampshire border, where there is conveniently no sales tax, so you can go and do your grocery shopping over there. The second thing I want to talk about is the fact that Maine is a ghost town. So Maine only has around 1.5 million people in the entire state, and it's actually the largest state in all of New England. So while Maine only has 1.5 million people, we do experience a pretty heavy tourist season. So before COVID, Maine was experiencing roughly 25 million people visiting the state throughout the year. And now, post-COVID, we're experiencing about 15 million people visiting the state in 2022. And while that number is a lot lower, that's still a huge influx of people coming to the state every year. So if you're trying to move to Maine to experience, small coastal towns and you want to enjoy the peace and quiet, you definitely need to do a little bit of research and figure out where exactly to move, because if you're moving to York or Cumberland County, or honestly, really anywhere along the coast in Maine, you might not be getting exactly what you imagined. On the other hand, though, if you're moving up to northern Maine or really anywhere north of Bangor, honestly, and a lot of towns south of Bangor, you're going to experience towns with only a couple hundred or a couple thousand people. The third thing I want to talk about is the fact that Maine has really harsh winters. Now, because Maine is a fairly large state, obviously your average temperature down south in Kittery, Maine is going to be different than your average temperature at the top of the state up by Canada in, say, Madawaska. But the fact of the matter is, Maine's cold for a good chunk of the year, and pretty much all residents living here, regardless of where you live in the state, are going to be able to tell you that they've experienced temperatures below 0 Fahrenheit, and they would describe winters as cold, snowy, icy, and really windy. So those are 3 reasons why you should not move to Maine. My name's Margaret, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send an email, schedule a Zoom call. All that information is down in the description below. And if you're moving or relocating to the area, we do have a relocation guide linked in the description below as well, which can be super helpful if you happen to be moving to the area. We'll see you next time.